and welcome to another Talking To episode. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by
Hayden.
And today we're going to be talking about the TMNT 2003 Season 1 Episode 12, The Unconvincing Turtle Titan. So, what do you think about this episode briefly?
Well, this episode, briefly, Teddy, I was not expecting it at all. I know I say this every episode, but literally this one just blows everything out of proportion for me. I was not expecting the whole superhero arc. It was a complete and utter masterpiece of... It was just really good, especially for like a turtle episode. Like, it was just amazing.
Yeah, I have to say that this episode overall was one which I do definitely have like a lot of personal connection. No, I do have like some connections to like my childhood and all that. So, but like overall, this episode it was just great, and I do think that my personal connections with this one for childhood, it makes me like this episode a lot more. And I was just like very surprised with how much they did in this episode compared to all the other episodes. It was like so much that happened in this episode, and I must admit I do really enjoy it. Okay, so first start off with the turtles, going now on training session, and that's when they realise, or sort of realise, or find a building is burning, and Silver Sentry comes in and saves the day. What do you think about this scene?
Well, one, I wasn't expecting this new character to be introduced. Who is this Silver Sentry guy? Who is this guy? Where does he come from? And why haven't we seen him before?
Yeah, he's a new character for the show. It's sort of a bit annoying because they don't really explain him too well in this episode, and going forward throughout the whole show, but don't really explain his origins. I think if I know there is that one episode in the final season, season 6, where they do say that they got these powers, and he's going into a little bit of his backstory, but don't really explain it fully. So, like, yeah, he's just a new character for the show, and it's all a bit weird, I would say, having him in this universe. But yeah, did you have anything else to say about the scene?
Well, like I said, Silver Sentry. Not Silver Surfer. Silver Sentry is a completely different character. But really, I did enjoy seeing the new character and how he's like... I don't want to say it because he's not. He reminded me of Superman, and I wasn't expecting like a Superman type of character within the series at all. Like, wasn't expecting it at all. But overall, that scene was pretty good. I really did like Mikey's introduction on how he could do more about how he can protect the people around him. I did enjoy his crazy idea on becoming a superhero, because I didn't think he would actually do it because it's Mikey, but as we later find out, he actually did it, which was pretty insane. But I'll explain more about what I think about Mikey's Turtle Titan later on in the episode.
So with this scene, I have to say that there's a lot of really good things about this one. So first starting off, when Turtle's coming out, I like how Mikey says that the streets are now a lot more safer now that Shredder's gone. But yet, the streets didn't really look that much different without, or even when Shredder was dead, the Bell Dragons weren't really much of a threat, so, yeah. But with the Silver Sentry stuff, it's sort of it's like a really weird thing, because on the one hand, I really do like Silver Sentry. I think like Silver Sentry is like a really interesting and fascinating character, and like you already mentioned with the Superman stuff, there's like a lot of similarities to him and stuff like that, which I do think is really great. But I do also think that on the other hand, with this whole superhero stuff, I'm glad that they are like open up this universe to be a lot bigger, a lot more better, and weirder, magical and stuff like that, to stuff that we don't even know about, which I think is really great and interesting, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know about. And there's like a lot of history for this universe as well, which is also really great. But I do think that because after this episode, we don't see the Justice or superhero stuff until next right at the end of next season. So it feels a bit weird to introduce him here and then not do anything with any of the superhero stuff. I think this maybe could have been presented better, maybe done in the next season, so that you could have had the other superheroes and stuff like that to really expand upon the superhero stuff, and all that. But on the other hand, it's I don't know. It's one of those interesting things where I think that there's like great things and bad things to both arguments you could say about the superhero stuff. But yeah, also the one thing which I don't know if you, I'm pretty sure you picked up on this, but Donatello saying "squeeze me." What did you think about that? Because I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I did pick up on the squeeze me part. I was like, squeeze me? It's like, Donnie was like, he was not having it. He's like, squeeze me, Mikey. It's like, the blood ain't getting to your head. Your bandana's too tight on.
Yeah, it worked, and also it was just so not Donnie, but it just worked. But then we do get to see the Turtles training with Master Splinter, and the Turtles have been a bit mean to him, and Mikey leaves because he wants to try to do superhero stuff. What do you think about this scene?
This scene was, I'm not gonna lie, it was one of the best one of the best scenes in this episode. I really did like how Mikey was so headstrong on wanting to become a superhero, and of course I gotta say this, really, I loved the references to all the other superheroes, such as the Injustice League, Shelltastic 4, Legion of Superheroes. Those were just priceless, and I gotta say, I wasn't expecting all these crossover references from other series in the Turtles. Like, I wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah.
It just made it perfect for that scene.
Yeah, I must admit, like, having all those references, it just makes it feel more like a superhero show, or a comic book one, which is just perfect for comic book fans. But with this scene, I really did enjoy the Turtles training with Master Splinter, like, especially when they were in the, like, when a majority of them, like, blacked out and all that. I don't know, it just worked so well for that scene. I really did enjoy that one. Not to mention, it's another train scene, which is also really great. But with the Mikey stuff, I have to say that, I really did like how, because I know his brothers, I must admit, I do think his brothers did acted a little bit weird with them sort of bullying Mikey. It did feel a little bit out of place with them doing it, or I wouldn't say out of place, but like out of character for them, especially with how we've seen them so far on the show. So it did seem a little bit weird, but at the same time, somewhat understandable. But with the Mikey stuff, I really did enjoy it, because I liked how he wasn't, like, he didn't really want to accept, like, a no, and he really did want to go through with it. And I think it's, like, a really interesting thing that he, like, I don't know, I just think it's a really interesting thing that what Mikey did here, where, like, he didn't, like, went against Master Splinter's orders and stuff like that. And I just think it's a really fascinating the way that they went around it. And I really would like them to, like, explore this, or, like, do more like this, where they do sort of question stuff and stuff like that. Because I think that, like, when you do get to, like, moments in that, you sort of, like, do, like, wondrous stuff like that. And I just think it's, like, really fascinating. But yeah, that's when Mikey goes out and saves some people. He first starts off, by stopping a little robbery with a purse snatcher and all that. What do you think about that little scene?
Well, at first I was a bit worried that a person was standing in the middle of the street, not doing absolutely anything, and I thought, oh my god, this guy's trying to end it. But frankly, that was not the case. But I was really, really weirded out by the eyes. Like, the eyes, they glow, and I thought, hold on a minute, what's going on here? Is this like mind control or something? Of course it was. But yeah, it was really weird how the eyes just glowed, despite the fact that it was just really weird just to seeing the eyes glow for some reason for me. Just seeing the eyes glow, they're mind controlled, and it was just so creepy and weird.
Yeah, I do think that, I don't know, I mean, just because it reminded me a lot of, you know, those like the climate change protesters. It gave me a lot of those kind of vibes.
Oh, yeah. The climate change protesters. Just standing in the middle of the street doing nothing.
Yeah, it really gave me those kind of vibes, which I think somewhat worked, but also at the same time is very weird. But yeah, then going into the next scene, we do have Mikey go to April and ask if they can get a costume and stuff like that. What do you think about this scene?
That scene where Mikey goes and asks April for fashion advice on how to make a superhero costume, that was really interesting because one, we got to see how much rubbish and stuff was in April's shop, and two, we we explored a different route in the series entirely. Like we got to see and explore a new possibility of a new story arc of Mikey becoming a superhero, which is pretty cool, I guess. But I will not lie, I did enjoy the costumes and the fashion show a bit, with Mikey coming out in fully dressed, plated armor from like the medieval period. He comes up as a magician, and I'm not gonna lie, I have to agree with April on this one. One of the costumes, he did look like a mugger. I'm not gonna lie, he looked like he was gonna rob a place or something. Just the clothing was not going to suit him for that.
Yeah. I must admit, with this scene, I was quite surprised of how supportive April was compared to everyone else in the show, where they're sort of trying to bully him. But it was a nice change, and the costumes which Mikey put on were interesting, I'd say, with some of them, and some of them I do just wonder why. And I don't know, I felt like with April in this scene here, she just felt, I mean, I must admit, this whole episode feels like completely different and weird to the normal type episodes I normally see from the show. So having it here with April, again, you can sort of feel the weirdness aspects of this episode where, even though it's this version of Turtles, it doesn't really feel like this version of Turtles, if you sort of understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. It just doesn't feel like a turtle episode.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I'd say it doesn't feel like this version of the Turtles. That's sort of like where I'm trying to come at from my
Got you.
point.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next scene we do have a robbery go on of Crazy Manny, and Mikey tries to stop him, and it fails. What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, Crazy Manny, like, there was a one part of the scene what I really did like, where Mikey busts through the door and says, "Fear not, evildoers," or something along those lines. And he comes in and he says, "Right, your days of robbery are over." And then, of course, it just goes quiet, and the guy just keeps continuing taking the money out the cash register, and he just doesn't phase at all. Like, he just doesn't move, and of course, everything goes silent, and it's like awkward. But yeah, but that was pretty cool, and how they cut off the music and the sound just to like, okay, he's here. I don't care. I'm just gonna steal my money. All right. But yeah, that's what I liked about that scene. But apart from that, I didn't really have much else to say except that Michelangelo is trying to do his best for the people of New York, but it's just not working for him at this point.
Yeah, I'll just say that with this scene, I really did enjoy it. I just like how it felt like 60s Batman, where like they're somewhat taken seriously, but like for the majority of it, they just take it like very jokingly. Where like kicks in the door, evildoers beware. I love that. And then also like when he runs out into the bright light, for some reason that just worked well for me. I don't know why, but yeah. But then we do have the next scene where we see Mikey go onto a bus and try to stop that bus. What do you think? What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, I was pretty surprised on how quick Mikey was there at the scene, because if he wasn't there, that bus driver would have just driven right into the bank. And there's no Silver Sentry around to save him. And of course, the bus driver is completely out of it. And so without Michelangelo being there to save the bus driver from himself, basically, then it would have been a whole different story.
Yeah, I don't know. The bus thing, it was okay. I don't really have too much to really say about it. But when Mikey tries to jump off the bus and he gets trapped in with his cape, for some reason I just like that. For some reason, I can't explain why, because I know that it's really stupid in a way, but there was just something about it for me that I really did enjoy it. But that's when you get to see that Silver Sentry comes in, saves the bus, and he has his first interaction with Mikey. What do you think about this scene?
Well, I just gotta quickly go back to the cape thing. When Mikey got his cape stuck in the door, I was thinking, oh my god, this is like the no capes situation of Edna Mode from The
Yeah.
Incredibles. This is like no capes, and she's just going through the list of why superheroes shouldn't have capes. It's like one got stuck in a rocket, one got stuck in a tornado, and vice versa. I was like, this is like Edna Mode right now. It's like, oh my god, no capes. Like it's got stuck in the door. You shouldn't have capes. It's like it just reminded me of the incredible scene of that particular scene of Edna Mode just listing why superheroes shouldn't have capes. And there's one reason they get stuck in the bus door. That's another reason, and that just reminded me of Edna Node and The Incredibles so much in that one. I just had to put it in there.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking that as well, but I didn't want to say it because it's already come a bit off topic. But like, I must admit, yeah, I was thinking that. But yeah, like, what do you think of the interaction between Mikey and Silver Sentry?
With Silver Sentry and Michelangelo, um, it was kind of cool. Like Michelangelo was just being like the giddy schoolgirl, like, "Oh my God, it's him! It's Silver Sentry! Oh my God!" That sort of thing, you know. But after a while, Mikey got used to it. That was fine. Silver Sentry, of course, he's really cool, and his voice actor. I don't know who his voice actor is yet, but it is really good voice acting on his behalf to whomever it is. But yeah, Silver Sentry is just this awesome character. Like he's got these superpowers, and of course, when Michelangelo says, "Look, this little bug or whatever it is controlling people," and of course, Silver Sentry has this telepathic ability to locate signals from anywhere in the city. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I do think that Silver Sentry, I don't know, he's really great at just being a Superman type character, and I must admit, he does really work. And I must admit, seeing him interact with Mikey, again, it just makes this universe feels a lot more bigger than what it actually is, which again is just great. But going into that telepathic ability, I do think that was very stupid that he could see where a micro transponder, whatever it was, I just thought that was very stupid that he could sort of see the signal. I mean, I sort of see, like, if you could see the signal, then that's really stupid, but if you could hear it, then I don't understand, because shouldn't all the noises be, like, I don't know, like, fitting it? I do think that was a bit weird.
Yeah, unless he's got the training ability to listen out to one particular signal or microwave or whatever.
Yeah, I got a feeling we're gonna be going insane about this little detail.
Yeah,
But
we're gonna go insane.
but yeah, that's when Silver Sentry goes off, and Mikey attempts to go over there by running across a bridge and beating himself up, climb up a wall. What do you think about this scene?
Um, I did enjoy the fact that Mikey couldn't keep up with Silver oh, gosh, Silver Sentry, not Silver Surfer, Silver Sentry. Right, I got it. Silver Sentry, and of course he was trying to keep up with his grappling hooks as well. And of course, I'm surprised that Mikey didn't use grappling hooks before. Sure, he's terrible at it, but it adds to his character. But I'm going off topic here. But so I did enjoy Mikey running under across the bridge to get to Silver Sentry. He's like, oh my gosh, I really wish I had like a turtlemobile right now. Surprised he didn't take the Raph's turtle cycle. Like, I'm surprised he didn't take that as his mode of transport. But anyways,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I really did enjoy the fact that like he had to travel on foot through New York, evading all the people. That was pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, I do think that him just running across the bridge, I do think it definitely defeats the whole objective of him, like, trying to stay out the shadows. But I know that that's not the point, because he's supposed to be a superhero, but he's still a Ninja Turtle at the end of the day, so yeah. But I absolutely love the bit where it's just climbing up the wall, like the '60s Batman TV show, and just keeps hitting his head with his shield. Absolutely love that scene.
That was funny. But I just quickly want to say this may go down we're going down the rabbit hole right now, but where did he get the shell? Where did he get the turtle shell shield? Like, when he first got it, I was thinking, oh my god, please tell me that isn't an actual turtle shell that he's using as a shield. Like, where do you think he got the turtle shell from, Teddy?
Uh, I'm not too sure. I'd say probably like from April's shop, but at the same time, I got a feeling he probably made it with something like that. So most likely he just got like a trash handed and just painted it. But at the same time, I'm not too sure because like where do you even get a metal shell as a shield? I God, I feel like there's gonna be another thing that I'm gonna lose our minds over again.
Yes.
But yeah, then we get to see Dr. Lugnus. What do you think about him? Because I think he's an okay character, but for me, he reminds me of the Ben 10 villain Vilgax. He sounded so much like him, or is that just me?
He did sound familiar. His voice did sound very, very familiar to many villainous characters when I was growing up. But I gotta say, Dr. Galgamek, he's probably one of my favourite supervillains in this series thus far.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Is there a reason why?
His overall character and of course, his voice actor as well plays a big role in that as well. And he just reminded me of the 90s, 80s villainous character from the comics and the TV series. Like he's the go-to 101 supervillain right there. He's the nemesis of a superhero, and it just gave me so much. It just gave me so much of like the comics, the childhood superhero shows, and a lot of childhood memories from like watching those shows as well. It just set off those memories for some particular reason, but I think he's such a good character. Sure, he was only briefly used in this episode, and I'm hoping we get to see more of him, but he was just a really awesome character to use in this episode.
Well, you're still going to be very disappointed. He doesn't okay. So if my memory serves me correctly, he doesn't show up until the final season. So, yeah. But yeah, then going into the next scene, which could be an interesting one to talk about, Silver Sentry versus Mikey. What do you think about that scene?
Oh, that was a good scene to watch. Seeing Silver Sentry and Michelangelo go up against one another was certainly different. I certainly wasn't expecting it. But it was just a really cool scene to watch. The fights were pretty cool because we got to see a new way of fighting. Instead of the ninja way of fighting, we got to see like a mutant superhero sort of fighting with him flying up in the air, him scanning the area, him using his attacks differently to what a ninja would do. And it was really cool to see the different ways that each individual character fights. And of course, as we saw, Turtle Titan or Michelangelo, whatever, he decided to take the path of being like, oh, I'm going to go brute force right in there. But then, of course, he saw his ways, and of course, he realized there's a better way to go about this. And of course, he went back to his turtle training, became the ninja, became the shadow itself, and defeated Silver Sentry.
Yeah, I think that this fight scene, I think that there's like a lot of really great like scenes in this one. There was like one which I can't remember if it was like a box or it was one of the like the cans for like when when Michael was hit, he did like the flip over and landed on the floor. I love that bit. It's like a very little minor scene, but like love that. There's like so many great things in this one, such as like when Mikey does the flip over Silver Sentry to take it out, and him actually realizing that he just needs to be a turtle, and he can actually do a lot of good in the shadows. I'll say there's a lot of really great things in this fight scene. That one which I think is one of those ones which I saw like wish we was like watching together. I can just point out and be like, oh my god, that bit was amazing. That bit was amazing, and also this might be a good time to say that something which I wanted to bring up was that with Mikey's head with the mask on, it was only today that I've actually realised that Mikey had his I know I know that he had his mask on underneath the Turtle Titan mask, but I'd never realised that the bandana that was coming out of the Turtle Titan mask was Mikey's mask, and it's only today that I realised that it's actually orange, not red. So yeah, that's something. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's weird. Because originally, during the introduction to that episode, I thought it was Raphael who was the vigilante because of his red mask, and I'm thinking, oh, this is a Raph episode, but no, it's a Mikey episode. So I do not understand where you're coming from with that.
yes, but the thing is, it's taken me nearly about 20 years to finally realise that. You've had
You're
like
joking.
no, I'm not. You do realise I'm colourblind, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, also not to mention that when like the shading for Mikey's bandana thing, the shading on it does make it go red. So there's a lot of confusion behind all this. I feel like this should be like the next was it like Yanni or Laurel thing? This should be the next one. Yeah, then we get into the final scene, or one of the final scenes, where Silver Sentry and Mikey actually defeat Dr. Magnus in the sewer. What do you think about that scene?
um, well, I'm not too sure how to put it into words exactly. It was a good scene, like really good. Like it was the traditional superhero scene in which the Silver Sentry busts into the lair and tries and captures Dr. Gagalong. Sorry, Doctor. It'll
Malignus.
come to me. Sorry,
Oh god. Oh, Malignus.
Malignus. I don't know why I said Galagon. I don't know, but anyways, Doctor. Yeah, just goes in head first to get the Doctor, and of course, the Doctor gets away, as does every supervillain has a secret escape route, as we all know. And of course, he gets stuck in the wiring, and he gets himself electrocuted. That was like, should you really like? It was like you knew it was going to happen, but to fly straight into the electrical cables and get yourself electrocuted, that was a bit of a letdown, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I do think it was just like, I mean, it's just because they need to have Mikey do it. But I do think that like when Silver Sentry busts through the doors, I really did enjoy that scene. And then when Mikey kicked Dr. Magnus, I really did enjoy that scene as well. But then going into the final scene where Mikey comes home and reveals everything to the turtles, saying that it's Turtle Titan. What do you think about that scene?
Um, Before we go into that scene, I just quickly want to say, how did Mikey get down into the sewers so fast? Like how? And how did Mikey know where the elevator was going to come out at? Like how did he know?
I was just thinking, why couldn't like Silver Sentry go up through the sewers and just like absolutely kill him on the way up? Oh my god, that
I
would have
only
been.
like it was crazy to think that he got so quickly. Like, does Mikey have secret Flash superpowers that we don't know about? Who knows?
Yeah, I just think it's gonna be another one of those scenes where we just keep wondering and no good the answers for, so just
Oh
don't even
god,
bother.
there's going to
But
be a
yeah,
whole episode of us trying to figure it out.
no, I mean there are too many things that we've got going to like figure out. The power cell, how stuff is unrealistic in this universe. We just should not start with that whole episode. If we do, we just it just won't end.
We will just go
Um,
insane.
yeah. So, what do you think about that? The final scene.
The final scene was very interesting. I did enjoy Mikey coming out to say, "Look, I'm Michelangelo. I'm not Turtle Titan. I'm gonna leave the superhero fighting business to you because I can do so much more in the shadows." That was pretty cool to see, and I did enjoy how he said it as well, and how he jumped into the shadows, talking to Silver Sentry's like, "Look, mate, I can do this job in the shadows, and you can do it in the day because I do a much better job than you in the darkness," or something along those lines. That was pretty cool. I did like that scene, and of course, Silver Sentry as well, talking to the press. and saying that Mikey, Turtle Titan, and um, listing him as one of his accomplices in the fight. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I think there was like a lot of really good things about this scene, but made it the whole thing feel a lot like wholesome. Just like it's all century, just giving compliments out to Mikey. When Mikey wanted to give, I don't know, it just had one of those really great endings for like, I don't know, it's one of those ones for like, there's a lot of good things about it because of what they do that were good, but at the same time, yeah, I don't really know what else to really say. It's just a good ending that just wrapped things up nicely. That's all I can really say about it. But what do you think about this episode overall?
Well, this episode overall was an absolute great episode to watch, and it was completely unexpected. And I know I say this all the time, but it really was. This episode was completely unexpected. Like, I wasn't expecting the whole superhero arc, which is really enjoyable to watch and see as well. And I really want to see it a lot more because I want to know about how different superhumans are working and operating in this universe of the turtles, and to see if there is any more threats or nemesis that the turtles could come across and face. It is a whole story in itself. It's a whole arc in itself within the universe, and it's just really interesting to me knowing that you can take one theme and you can turn it into a huge open universe that the mind cannot compute. Like the mind cannot think of how much more there is to this universe, which is really cool.
Yeah, I definitely say that this whole episode was just really great and really fun to watch. And yeah, just like what you said about superhero stuff, they definitely really set themselves up to do a lot of really great things. And like I've already said, but like it really just opened up this episode really opens up this whole universe to being something much bigger than what a typical Toll universe normally is. And I do think that's really great. Just because they've already introduced, but they have a little history in this universe, a lot of potential storylines they could set up for the future, and just expanding it beyond just New York, really. And I do think there's like a lot of really great things in this episode. Shame that some of it doesn't really get expanded upon, but what we did get was just perfect. Okay, so you'll hear some comments now.
Let's hear him.
Okay, so for YouTube, Mr. Turtle, they put, it's one of the best full episodes of season 1, seeing real superheroes in city with rampaging mutant ninjas. I think it represents the fact that the Turtles can't be the heroes they want to be, especially Mikey because of his appearance, and the others may have to step to calls. Also, Mikey's costume was great. Yeah, Mikey's costume was absolutely amazing, I'd say.
It was good.
Yeah, it gave me a lot of Batman vibes, like a lot of like 60s type of Batman. The face of Chloe, I'm pretty sure I'm saying it right. They put a lot of dialogue was kind of cringy, but I love that it expanded on the situations of Mikey and proved why the Turtles couldn't be superheroes, even though by comic book logic they totally are. But it was a shame that they didn't do much else with Silver Century. You can't just casually drop a superhero exists in TMNT world and not do anything with it. Yeah, I must admit, I do definitely agree with that, because it feels weird not to just like have more of them in this universe without like waiting like another season or two to expand it. The
Definitely.
Angela Crummel, they put, it's kind of cute that they uses the colour of red and not orange, meaning that he thinks of Raph as his hero and he wants to be just like him. So yeah, what do you think about that? Because I'd never really thought of it like that before until I read this comment.
That is very interesting. Like, that is a very interesting comment, and to be honest, I never really thought about that. That is really bizarre.
I do think it's like one way of looking at it, but I do also think that maybe this person might be looking into it a bit too much, because I don't know if Raph is like the superhero role model to inspire people. He doesn't really give me that kind of vibe, but like, I think it's like one of those things where if you look at like things in different angles, then you can see it like that. So it must mean it's sort of like a interesting theory. iSport7, they put, I felt like I was watching Michelangelo meet Bugman from the 87 show, which was cool. Which was cool because I love that show. The episode was a lot like this one. Also, when I first saw this episode, I thought Silver Century was Baxter Stockman. Did you think that?
Not really. No. At first, I'm thinking, hold on a minute, that's not Baxter Stockman. That's got to be a complete different character. But no, I didn't really think of that at first. Really, I didn't think about it until you've now said it. So unless it's a clone, like or something ridiculous.
Yeah, no. I think the only one for like somewhat confusion at first was Mikey's Turtle Titan. I must admit, I don't like the opening bit where he was a Turtle Titan already, because I do think it sort of did give some spoilers away for the episode. But other than that, great. The Huntsman Covenant, they put Mikey's alter ego Turtle Titan is awesome. And yeah, Magma Striker they put, I don't know a lot about this episode, other than the fact that there's others absolute hate the fact that Mikey wants to wear a superhero costume. Also, I do remember a hero that, that's another thing. You must admit, it's all just really, I must admit, this whole episode really shows how much everything has changed for everything really, because if you really think about it, the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, people got hated on if you was a nerd and dressed up as superheroes. But now that's sort of the normal thing. And now the only thing that people hate nowadays is furries. So, I like how much things have changed, and it really shows it's time that this episode was made. So going on to Facebook, in Kevlar, I'm pretty sure I'm saying it right, they put, I think those alternate universe episodes were all dark as hell in their own way, and truly messed with the Turtles' heads. Actually, what's this episode? That comment has nothing to do with this episode, even though it was on the thread about it. So yeah, Elizabeth Tracy, they put, one of my favourite episodes. I love Mikey as Turtle Titan. Mikey loves comics and superheroes, so it was awesome seeing him as one. Yeah, I think that sums up perfectly well. Matt Jenner, they put, one of my favourite figures from that line, and also an episode that they visit in fast forward, as I'm sure you're aware, but the costume was better in this episode. Yeah. Sarah Kathleen, they put, good episode. Emiliano Barraro, I know I said it wrong, sorry, they put awesome. Okay, Stephen Pope, they put, one of my favourite episodes and recurring accurate lights of Mikey. He decided to become a Turtle Titan is great. Not all the fans who wish to be seen, to be heard, and as writer states, out of the shadows. Not only is it to boost self-esteem, but we recognise it's also cathartic to be distinguished from his brothers, to form his own identity per se. This episode, while thrusting Mikey into superhero fandom, gives us a great respect for self-discovery, but also shows us the importance and for appreciation of what we already have. Silver Century, along with the Justice Fools, is a great addition to the Free series. This episode Playmate toy figure is an eBay favourite. It was also released in children's book series, which also fans also collect. I see this episode as a standout from the series. God, that was a mouthful. But yeah, I must admit, I never really thought of it that way as well. Like seeing this as like a self-discovery type episode. But I must admit, like knowing that, it's sort of really great looking at it from that point of view. Matt Jenner, they put one of my favourite figures from the line. Oh, no, wait. Oh, this is all in the same post. Obi, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because I'm not going to say it wrong. They put, I went crazy as a teen when I saw this. Literally bought the toy once it got released. And yeah. Okay, so do you want to hear some trivia for this episode?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so this is the first time a superhero appears in the series. Officer Frank and Sarge show up at Crazy Manny's store, and those two cops were the sort of like cameos for the creators of the Demon. Turtle Titan uses a grappling hook. AT's Michelangelo used a grappling hook in his, so this is a really interesting fact. So, in the 80s show, which is sort of like a reference to this episode with the grappling hook thing, in the 80s show, they banned the word ninja in the actual title of the show and called it Hero Turtles, and they banned Mikey's nunchuckers, and they gave him a grappling hook instead of his nunchuckers. But yet
What?
Yeah, it's true. And yet, Raph and Leo still had their bladed weapons. So, yeah.
I think they got that a bit mixed around, I think.
Yeah, well, it was the 80s. There's just a lot of weird things. Everything, I mean, Turtles as a whole, there's like a lot of really weird things about it. That if you were to look in on, like, the franchise and what has been done with it, it's one of those really weird things where you just go, oh, so did that? Huh. In 1993, Playmates Toys released an action figure of Michelangelo as a superhero called Super Mike. This figure only slightly resembles the Turtle Titan of the 2003 show. In this episode, Don refers to Star Wars by saying, "Excuse me," like Jar Jar Binks. He also later makes a reference to the Fantastic Four, as does Raph to the Justice League and Leo to the Legion of Superheroes. I did not realize Mike. Yeah, I did not realize he was doing a Star Wars reference. That was yeah, that's interesting.
I wouldn't have expected that. Like, I know Jar Jar Binks says it squeezed me, but I wouldn't have thought that. No.
Yeah. Then again, like, I don't know, because it's just like a word. I don't really know if you can really say it's a reference to something. So yeah. Okay, do you want to hear the cast now?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so Mikey slash Turtle Titan was voiced by Rain Grayson. Dr. Magnus was voiced by David Brimmer. Silver Sentry voiced by Terrence Archie. April voiced by Veronica Taylor. There is a person from Manny, but I'm not exactly too sure who. I'll quickly look in a minute. Donatello voiced by Sam Riegel. Leonardo by Michael Sinterklaas. Raphael by Frank Frankson. Censor by Darren Dunstan. Crazy Manny. Let's see, he was voiced by Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson was the one who did the voice of Casey, so...
Oh.
Wow. Okay, so who do you want to look into on this week?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I was going to ask about the Silver Sentry, voice actor, but
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, we can always do him, if you want to.
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, so he was voiced by Terrence Archie. So let's look on his on DB. He hasn't really been in too much. I think this might be one of his biggest roles from the show. So he was in Law and Order. Okay, quickly looking now. I don't think there's been too much he's really been in, because because it was like from 2010 to 2014 he wasn't doing anything then, and then he's just been in like one thing here and there, but like not anything too big. It was just like sort of minor roles. In actual fact, you've not seen him in anything that you've seen him in. The next thing is that like you might have seen him in is Law and Order, but I think even then that's yeah, I think have you seen that show?
I've seen some episodes of the Law and Order, but the most thing that I've probably seen him in, he was only in one episode, but he's been in The Walking Dead: The World Beyond as Captain Betts.
Well, I was just about to say that. I just realised that. Is Captain Betts an important character, or?
Not really. No, Captain Betts was one of the side characters for when the base was being overrun by walkers or zombies, whatever you want to say it. But yeah, he wasn't really main character, but he was a good character in The Walking Dead Well Beyond, but he wasn't a major character.
Okay. Yeah, I think Terran Archie, I know he does like a little performances like on stage and all that, so I think that's like where you're most likely going to see him. But like either way, he's somewhat done some cool stuff. But I do think that his Silver Century stuff is like where people mainly would have seen him from. Yeah. Okay, so for next week episode is because it's a 3-part episode, but now we're gonna be doing them as like one episode at a time. So the first one is called Notes from the Underground Part 1. What do you think is gonna happen in that episode?
Notes on the ground.
From the underground.
Oh, notes from the underground. I'm not too sure really. Notes from the underground. Maybe it's something to do with the secrets of the underground, such as like the secret elevator that the turtles found, and the secret hideout that they found, connected to like some ancient civilization. Perhaps. Maybe they find more about why it's there and who built it. That's why I'm going off it at the moment.
You're on the right tracks. You're yeah, like not 100% there, but like you're on the right tracks. Good job.
Oh my god, I actually got one.
Okay, so yeah, so who do you think is going to be starting the episode?
I get this wrong every time, but
yeah, you're gonna fail you're gonna fail today as well.
Jeez, we got Mikey. I want to say Leonardo.
Wrong. You're gonna kick yourself. It's Mikey.
Who is it?
Well,
I will get it one day.
I think that's up for debates, really. But yeah, do you have anything else to say about this episode?
Overall, this episode was a great one to watch. I really did enjoy watching the superhero arc story in this episode, and I really want to know more about how the superhumans live and operate in the Turtle universe as well. Just seeing Silver Sentry just store his power, and I just want to know if there is any other superheroes like himself in the universe.
Yeah, there are a few. They've even made their own team called the Justice Force. I feel like you already know the reference to that.
Yeah, hold on a minute. They're like, isn't that just the Justice League?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the difference is that with these ones, they start off with like the original team, but like they're really old. So then they get like a new team, which Silver Sentry does actually. He actually leads the Justice Force. So I guess that's something to look forward to. I would say it's a spoiler, but like, the thing is that like Silver Sentry hardly appears, or even Justice Force hardly appears in the show. So by the time we get to it, you probably would have forgot about him already. So yeah, I must admit, overall, this episode was a really great one. Getting back to this, it really does bring back a lot of childhood memories from watching this episode. But yeah, if you do want to get onto the podcast, you can leave a comment on the community tab on YouTube. On one of the comments on the YouTube video, you can leave it on Reddit post, on the Facebook pages, or on the Anchor app, where you can leave it on. We can either leave a voice message or a text message. But yeah, that's been another episode of Talking Souls. I've been your host Teddy,
and I've been Hayden.
And we'll see you soon. Goodbye, yo, bye.
Bye.